Now we have a program that will force us to provide, oopsie, I need to go into the hello directory. It will force us to provide an argument, and it will say hello to that argument. If we look at a string diagram of what we have now, we have some name coming in to our program, and we're going to get out some sort of a greeting. For instance, if we have Terra coming in to our program, it's going to say hello Terra. If we have universe, it's going to say hello universe. And if we look at the help documentation, we run this, oops, we run the program with -h. It's going to tell us exactly that name is a required argument and it's a positional argument, and it won't run without that. But we'd like to go back to where we could run this program with no arguments and it would say hello world. And then only if we wanted to override that could we provide a name. So we're going to actually make the argument optional now. So typically positional arguments are required, and anything that's not required would be made into an optional argument. And to do that, we're going to change the name to --name. So now it's going to be that's going to be the long flag name, and we're also going to give a short flag name of -n. So now this has become an optional argument that we can either provide with -n and the name to greet or --name. And I think that's all we want. Let's see. It's also pretty common to add a metavar that will be shown to the user in the help documentation. So if we were to run this now with -h, we would see that this is changed from -name to name to -n name. And then here in the this is changed from a positional argument to an optional argument, and it's still the name to greet, but we're saying here that it's either -n followed by a name or --name followed by some sort of a name to greet. And now if we run this with -world, it will run just fine. But if we run it with nothing, it blows up because there's nothing for name. It's actually set to none because we didn't set a default value. So if we go up here and we say default is equal to world, now we actually can run this program with no arguments, and it will say hello world. So to show you that, hello world when there's nothing. But if we say name is going to be universe, it will say hello universe. Notice what happens if we misspell name, like this. Then our program actually won't run because argparse sees that we tried to provide an argument that it doesn't know about. So it caught that error and presented a usage statement to the user without us having to write that. So just by using argparse, we get really a lot of error checking. And honestly, sometimes half the battle is just getting your data into your program. So argparse makes this much easier to handle. So we were doing all this. The reason why we were trying to make this into a parameter was because we want to be able to run this with tests. And so let's run our test suite and see if our program is responding the way it should. Great. We're now passing all the tests because the last test after usage, which we got once the program started responding with a usage statement to -h, the other thing was it was going to be passing in inputs of the name to greet, and then it was verifying that we got back a name. So now we have a program that will dynamically respond to input and passes all of our tests. We changed the name from a positional argument to an optional argument, and we're able to still access it through the name because that is the long flag name. So that's the way that you access this. So that is how to make an optional argument using argparse.